The following content is for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
You are now listening to No Free Drinks, the Not Your Ordinary Dating, Relationships, and Sex Advice podcast.
Join me, Wesley, your Keeps It Real co-host.
We were going out, I would say steady for like 6 to 8 months. We just abruptly stopped having sex. So why are we not getting freaky? Like, what the f*** is going on? So she's like, no, because I've renewed my faith in God.
I know how I am. Like, I'm not going to get no cheeks. I'm going to cheat on you. Brock, your Knows-It-All co-host.
And then my go-to hookup one has always and will forever be Tinder. It's just like in the bathroom, like, cool, I got these 5-10 minutes. Like, just thumb game strong. Like,
and Lina D, your No Chill co-host.
Oh, so do you go down on women? And there were a few men that said, no, like, I don't believe in that. And then I was like, oh, well, I don't believe in you, so we should probably end this.
Yeah, that's harsh as
I mean, it's harsh as to say you're not going to eat my pussy out.
Join us every Wednesday for
all type of societal norms being turned upside down.
And welcome back to No Free Drinks. This is Lina D. And we're actually bringing you a very special edition episode today. So in celebration that we've hit the 25 episode mark, yay! We actually had talked about providing No Free Drinks as a platform to encourage conversation, even if people come from different points of view. So that we're actually living up to what we said, we actually have an episode today where we've invited some of our No Free Drinks listeners. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
And I'll let you guys introduce yourselves, but we've invited them so that they can also talk about their perspectives, what they think about, and we can actually have a dialogue around some of the topics that we've talked about so far in our podcast. So I am going to turn it over to, we actually have 3 ladies here today, and this is actually called the Chicas Chat, that's just me being Latina. I thought it would be cool to call it Chicas. And we were just here to talk about the topics that people were really excited about and that they wanted to share their own perspective and their experience. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Maddie.
Hi, this is Maddie. Madison, but I go by Maddie. I am super excited to be here today to talk to you ladies. And it's really to let Lina D know that there are celibate people out there and we're real.
Yeah, I completely always disregard their existence. So thanks, Maddie, for being here with us.
No problem.
I'm Jess. I'm also super excited to be here. So thanks for having me on. I actually agree with a lot of the things that Lina D says. So I'm just happy to contribute my opinion on some of the different topics that we've touched on before. So yeah.
Awesome. It's so great to have you here.
Hi, my name is Ari, and I recently launched an Instagram handle called the Itis, y'all, which stands for the I'm Trying, I Swear. And the whole point being, like, we all fuck up a lot. We have these really complicated emotions, and that is part of the reason I'm so excited to be here today because, I love that this podcast talks about, real shit. And, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited about that. And as far as why everybody's excited, there was also certain topics that people really wanted to delve into. So Ari, in line with our most recent episode, Beyond the KK, I know that you were talking about sort of your sentiments around it. So why don't we start there?
Yes, I just feel like you guys are really anti the KK text, and I just wanted to put a word out there for some of us, sometimes basic bitches, that sometimes you just have to hit them with the KK because either you want to shut it down or you don't have anything else to say. And that's the easiest way to just respond to a situation, right? Just say KK and move on. That's how I feel.
But couldn't you just be like, don't fucking talk to me? I don't know. Obviously we came up with that episode and more of what we were trying to encourage is people to go beyond just being basic about it.
Agreed. I do. Yeah, I definitely think that makes sense, especially if it's someone that you want to be nice. You don't want to lead them on. especially if you're trying to develop and build, some type of situationship or whatever it may be. But what if you just are like, you need this person to kind of like be in your roster, or, just like, you're not trying to shut it down, but also are okay if, you guys hit each other up every now and then. So like if you're just done talking to them in that given situation, but not all situations.
Okay.
Sometimes you just gotta be like KK, and
keep it moving.
I
guess that makes sense. What do you think about that, Jess?
I agree. I think there are like certain situations that call for KK. Although I actually don't like it when people don't punctuate their text. So I'm like, I tend to actually be someone who writes too much on text, and I also enjoy it when the person responds with a lot more and they punctuate it. But I agree. Like there are situations where if you don't want to talk more, then that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's all relative. I think one of the points that, because when we were talking about in that episode was about continuing to foster potential meaningful connections. But sometimes you've already written somebody off as like, you're never going to really be a meaningful connection, but I'm just down to fuck kind of thing. So I think in that case it makes sense.
Okay.
So I can see that perspective. KK it up. The other topic too, which I just kind of got put in my lane about people existing that are celibate, which are actually out there, which I actually didn't realize that you were. So I was actually very intrigued when you said that.
Hey, yeah, we're real people. We're not fairies. Just to let you know that. And it's interesting to see people's reactions to that, because you said that. When people find out, and I will say the other reason I'm on here is because I am a reformed hoe. So I do have that perspective also.
You do still have your inner hoe.
I do.
She's still in
just
there, right?
dormant right now. It's like I drugged her and she's sleeping. She's hibernating, and I'm waiting for that person. But it's always just interesting to see how people respond to that. I've had people that are shocked. I've had people that pity me because how could you not have dick in your life? And I'm like, well, it's easy actually.
And actually, that's, I think, how I normally default to. I think it's because I know who you are. I can't just be like, oh, pity the fool kind of thing. But it's good because I think it's opening at least my perspective, and I'd like to understand, being that you did say that you used to have these ho-ish tendencies, and it's not like you were just born like a perfect like goody two shoes. You've kind of gone through some of your shit, and then you've been like, no. So like, can you talk a little bit about what that journey looked like for you? And
yeah, absolutely. So I am, and this is something else that you have mentioned, I am relatively religious. So I do go to church. I'm active in my church. And honestly, that did not stop me from my hoish tendencies. I'll be real.
It was part of the a la carte menu, right? Like, you didn't want it, so.
Pretty much. You know how they'll be like, turn from your sinful ways. And I'm like, but not these. I'm going to keep this one. But honestly, it was more so about me. It was very easy to separate the emotion from the act of having sex for me. And finally, it was just one day that I realized I really wasn't happy doing that. So it was a personal decision. I absolutely don't judge anyone. And that's another part of being religious, where it's just like, oh, so you must judge people that do? No, not at all, because live your life, do you. It just isn't for me anymore. And have I slipped up? Absolutely. Did I sleep with my ex recently? Sure did. And then I went back to all right, this totally was not worth it. And for me, it's just the emotional part of it. That made it easier to just say no, kids. Just say no to it.
What do you do when it gets like, when you're like, I want some dick?
Oh, you mean like the past few days? Mm-hmm. And that's another thing about being celibate. People think that once you're celibate, you just don't have needs anymore. Like, this doesn't shut down because I decide not to have dick. No, I still have needs. I still wake up some mornings like, I could really use some dick right now. either I pray about it. I'm just joking. I don't.
What? I was like, I pray, but I've never done that. Prayer.
No, I don't. I find ways to distract myself, and or I play with myself, and I have no shame in saying that. That's what it's here for. You got fingers. Some toys, use those.
Yeah, I think the masturbation piece, like we obviously talked about it, and we're very pro masturbation. So it's, I mean, what I love is that you're not shutting yourself down to masturbation because of the fact that it's sometimes not considered religious, or some people have their
face
points of
Maddie
view.
just made.
I'm glad you guys can't see my face. And that is true. A lot of people do tend to think that if you're in church and you're a good Christian girl with that good like schoolgirl upbringing, then you shouldn't do that. But we're sexual beings. Like I'm still human. This didn't shut down. Like it didn't go away. It's just finding what works for you. And I think that was really what I loved about that episode that you had. It was just like, there's no reason not to. And nobody knows that I do it unless I tell you. So why not?
Yeah, and thanks for telling us that you do it, because
You're welcome.
But again, it's like you should also be comfortable saying it. And I love that you are very comfortable with saying it and saying that you still have your sexual identity. Like your sexual identity isn't tied to a man or having a partner in your life. Your sexual identity is your individuality. And like, that's what's awesome about what you just said.
You're absolutely right. And I'm glad you got that, because that could have been missed.
So I know masturbation was like a favorite topic as well. So we'll probably spend a little bit of time there. What do you guys think about like either what Maddie said or anything to build on the masturbation topic?
I mean, I'm all for it. I think people should be more open about talking about it, should be happier to do it more often as well. I actually really liked your podcast, like the episode on masturbation, and also like bringing in toys and like exploring. I think, yeah, I mean, I just agree with Maddie on like, you know, you don't have to have someone to have sex with you without and not get like the sexual pleasure that you want. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, totes agree. I support it. I wonder if there's like, what's the limit? Like, is there too much masturbation? Is that a thing?
I don't think so.
That's actually, yeah, that was one thing I was thinking about.
Like, would you be creeped out if someone you were dating like masturbated all the time? Like, is that I don't know. I'm literally curious. I wonder if I was in that scenario, what would I would think?
Well, I'm wondering, like, if you do it too much, will you get used to like a certain way of it, like of it being done, and not be able to be as easily pleasured? I think Maddie would like to say something.
Tag me in. So it's interesting you say that. When I was having sex, the last person that I was involved with could never get me there. So I would literally, every time he was done, I'd rub one out. Is that a thing? Can I say that?
Yeah.
But I would just be like, okay, so you're done and you're not going to try to get me there. So I did it and I was open about it. I think it gets weird when you're telling just like your coworker or your friend, like, yeah, I'm about to go to the bathroom and knock one out real quick. But I honestly don't think there's too much per se. Unless it's like hindering other parts of your life. Yeah. But if you do it every day, twice a day, whatever, because it's like, if you could have sex twice a day and it'd be okay, then why would it be an issue if you masturbate twice a day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've been one to have sex like 4 times a day, so it's never enough.
No.
As long as you're not telling us like, hey guys, me and Wesley are about to go out back, then we don't care. And we don't need to know. I think that's the other thing. It's just like, do what you have to do, but you don't need the world to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Like,
Unless they're asking. I mean, one of the things that we talked about in the episode was like toys and how you use either toys to masturbate or toys with like a partner masturbating. So I actually do, like, one of the reasons why I think people should talk about it more and more openly and be comfortable about it is because you can kind of like share trade secrets. Like, this is what I do. And like, have you tried this before? So, like, that's kind of why I encourage conversation around it. It's not really to, like, creep people out that, you know, I'm about to go, like, to the bathroom. I said I was going to go to the bathroom and use it, but actually I'm feeling myself kind of thing. Like,
see, you don't need to know that.
Like, it's not that. But it's like, oh, well, Jess, what do you like to do? Like, is there anything that you've tried recently that was really cool that you would recommend to somebody else? Like, I think that's the type of conversation. And if you can answer the question.
Like, was that a question or was it just like an example? Something that I've tried recently? You know, I'm like really boring in my, cause I know exactly what works. So and that maybe that's like kind of to the point of like, if you do it too much and like you're used to a certain routine, like maybe then it might become harder to like enjoy something else. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't tried anything new recently. Like, I guess a new toy. But
so that's interesting. You're a creature of habit when it comes to your masturbation.
Yeah, because I don't always have. So I don't actually make it like a big thing. It's like, all right, I'm about to go to sleep, but maybe I'll just spend like 10 minutes to like get to that pleasure point and then go to sleep because it's like it's nice. So I don't really like spend time setting the atmosphere or like, you know, any of that. I just kind of do it and done.
So in the spirit of recommending things, because I've actually found this very super awesome thing. So I'm actually opposite in my masturbation habits. I actually plan around it. So, and sometimes plan may be a little bit impromptu. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh, I have an hour before I have to get to work. I usually need about 35 to 40 minutes to masturbate. It's actually a big ordeal.
Okay.
Because, I don't know, it's just, I gotta find the right porn video. Doing it wrong.
You gotta get better at finding your pleasures now.
No, I mean, it's true, because I'm like, wow, I wish I was that efficient within 10 minutes.
I don't even need that long. I need to... Because like Jess said, it's like I know what it takes, so I need like a good 3 minutes and I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm like not...
I think I'm somewhere in between that. Yeah. I do have to set a mood in my head.
If there's a video involved, that can prolong it.
Like finding the right video, I feel you on that. But at the same time, once you get started, it's like, we're done. I know what I'm doing. I'm with you, Jess.
I think it's because I voluntarily delay it. So I'll feel that it's coming, but I'm like, no, I want this to like go on a little bit longer. So I'll delay it, and then it gets harder and harder to like reach it again. But like the video takes time, like finding the right rhythm of what toys I want to use. Like sometimes am I on a 1 toy day or 2 toy day? Like
you're inspiring me actually. I feel like I should
Maybe we're doing it wrong.
Sometimes I gotta get in the mood and just say, well, do I want to use this and this or just one? Like, am I lazy? Like, is it a lube day or not? Like, all these things that I think about. But I did find a very awesome toy the other day. It is. I've never purchased one before. I highly recommend it. I won't endorse them on here because they're not paying me, but I can.
You can tell us after
later. Yes. A G-spot vibrator.
Oh. How's that different? Like, how's it shaped?
So it's the one that has it has a head kind of, but it's not as long as a dildo because it's literally only getting up to your G-spot, and it has like a little weird curve thing on it, kind of like a little hook thing, or it'll have.
Oh, I've seen those.
It kind of it looks like literally like a little
like
hook.
The bunny ear looking ones.
It's the one that looks kind of like this.
Yeah, it's like kind of broader, and it has like a little hook thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's intended to kind of reach up to your G-spot once you insert it. But this is the thing too. I've tried them before and I've given up on them, but I also realize now that I bought really crappy G-spot vibrators. So if you've never used one, use the one that I use because it's amazing. But if you have used it before and you were turned off by it, because in in the episode, we talked a little bit about like everybody has different sensations with their G-spot. So I actually was interested through the research that I did for the podcast to like find out a little bit more. And there's trains of schools of thought that say you can actually, if you're not a squirter, you could actually train yourself to become a squirter by just using more G-spot stimulation and using a G-spot vibrator.
Why do you train yourself to be a squirter?
Some women have a fantasy to be a squirter if they're not a natural squirter.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so
I am not one, but my future husband will be proud that when I train myself to become one. Maybe.
Hopefully he's listening, right?
Hey, babe. I got you, boo.
But some women, I've had, after that episode came out, I've had listeners reach out and say, I'm really jealous that you can squirt. And I was like, well, I think anybody can train themselves. But the caveat to that is that when I squirt, I usually don't squirt from masturbation. I squirt from somebody else stimulating me. And it's never, so that's the thing, I'm never consistent with anything, which is why I can't rub one out in 10 minutes.
Like so many visuals are occurring right now.
So many.
So yeah, so that's kind of like the story of my masturbation life. But the reason why I brought that up is because I think that if you haven't been big into G-spot stimulation, or if you're usually a person that is more manual in terms of your habits, like that's a good one to try out.
Have you guys ever
Amazon page for me later?
Yeah. Have you guys ever tried one of the sex toys I've been like curious about is the magic wand?
Oh yes.
What's that?
The big massage.
It's like the big,
wand
almost. It
looking
looks like a
thing?
mic, almost. Yeah, like the head is like. I don't think it's supposed to go in you.
No.
I'm sure it was meant to be a massager,
Huge.
like a body massager.
Oh, those.
And then, those of us that know what it's really for, use it to. But I'll honestly say I'm not big on vibrators or toys or anything, so I'm going to sit with this one out.
I've never used toys with anyone else.
Yeah,
I
same.
mean, like,
Okay.
had my little vibe. Helped me out a little bit. But yeah, I've never used them with other people.
Is it because you don't want them to know that you use them, or it's just never come up?
It's just never come up. And like, I've never thought to bring it up. Maybe I'm boring.
My thought on that was always, if the sex is whack, the sex is whack. Like, I'm not going to invest time into trying to fix it. I'm just going to find somebody else. This is back in my hoe days.
Yeah, but that's because they were just awful in the sack. But what if they're really good in the sack, and then you introduce some extra stuff?
Because
in
if the
there?
sex is already bombed, then I don't need a toy.
But then why not?
That was always my thought process.
Okay.
Like, if I'm already satisfied, I need nothing else. You've already gotten me there. I always thought of toys as to enhance or to make better what wasn't there. But I don't have time for that. Like, if it's whack, then I'm done. I'm the KK. That's my KK of texting. Where I'm just like, I'm just not going to have sex with you anymore. Like, no,
Well,
I'm not
yeah.
going to spend money to get a toy. Like,
I
just
agree.
don't
If the
want
sex sucks, then I don't think a toy will fix it. But I think that if the sex is good, you can definitely like elevate it with toys.
That's more of my thing for it, which was kind of like my argument with, which I'm gonna bring this up just because it's on my head right now. But the whole prostate thing, I still can't get over like why you just wouldn't want to be stimulated in a different way.
Oh, like the bit in between
that little.
that little bit.
well, that part I don't think
no,
it had as
okay.
much of an issue, but like actual like prostate stimulation.
Oh,
So like that's kind of what I'm saying with like the G-spot. Like most women don't think of stimulating their G-spot, as most men are like completely against like the prostate. But that's kind of what it reminds me of, like the equivalent. It's like, well, if you can make great sex better with a toy or whatever else it is, another person maybe, who knows? Like it's like, why not do it?
Touche. Tell us more about this magic wand, though.
I've not tried it. I'm actually trying to see if you guys have because I'm curious about it. It looks interesting.
Have you tried it, Ari? No.
I've never tried it.
Okay. Well, I'm guilty as charged again.
Of course.
And that's why you host this podcast. It's great.
So it's a recent purchase. when we were at the New York Sex Expo, that's actually where I decided to buy one because they were 50% off. And I was like, well, why not?
It's a sale.
I was like, this is cheap, and like everybody's talking about it. Yeah, sign me up. If it sucks, I at least got it on sale. And it's really good. It gives you a very different sort of like feeling because the thing is so big. Like the head of it is so big, so you feel more vibration everywhere. So remember I said the clit has legs. This has been the first toy that actually makes me feel sensation in the legs. Versus like other vibrators that are more isolated just on your clit. So I think it's a worthwhile investment.
Okay. Good to know. They're expensive. So it's good that you got it on like 50% off.
Yeah, I think I only paid like $60 for it, but they're normally like $120, $150 or something.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Fingers are good. I'm good.
Yeah, but I think masturbation's great. So I'm glad we talked about that. So shifting gears a little bit, you mentioned, just to bring back to Maddie what you said, and hooking up with the ex. What are your thoughts there?
It's so complicated because it's like your ex knows what you like, right? And so it's like when you're in the moment, I feel like it can be really good, but then it comes after the fact, like all the emotions come with it. And confusion, maybe, depending on how long you've been broken up. I keep thinking about, it's just, you just like keep thinking about it and sometimes overthinking it. I feel like you have to really establish in the best scenario that it's like just a hookup and not anything more than that. Because otherwise, it can be a disaster.
I agree, which is why we're like, don't do it. But you're so right about it.
It can be so good.
Yeah.
It can be so good sometimes.
I totally agree with you, Ari, on that. But I didn't do that. So
you didn't want to have that conversation?
It wasn't emotional at all.
Oh, that's good.
But that's where I realized that it was the emotion that made the sex seem like it was really good. Because in that moment, it was like, this is really bad. And then afterwards, I was like, please leave. Because this was really, I didn't tell him that. He probably knows now. It was just like, this totally wasn't worth it. And if anything, it just helped me to reinforce why we broke up. It wasn't because of the sex, but it was like, if the sex isn't even good, then why am I going to deal with your bullshit? So I agree, don't do it. But sometimes, yes. That's just what you need. Like, I don't need somebody to learn me. I just want somebody that knows exactly what to do and be done with it and then leave.
Yeah. And then also I feel like kind of, especially when you've been apart from that person even longer, it's kind of interesting. Like, I feel like, like you grow sexually as you like get older. And then it's interesting to like go back and have sex with that person when like you're both a little bit different at the same time, which can also just make it confusing because then you're like, damn, well, imagine if we had been doing this. But yeah, it's just so complicated. It can be complicated. It doesn't always have to be complicated, but it can be. Exes suck balls.
What were we thinking?
I don't know. Something took us there, but
it's not worth it.
I got nothing to add. I think most of the times when I've broken up, I've moved to another country, so I never had the opportunity to like have to go back and hook up. And I think like usually when things end, I'm over it, so I don't even have the like desire to go back. So I guess I've not really been in that situation much.
Can you teach me that?
Teach us. Have no emotions. Be a robot.
Is that really the secret?
You like delete, block, like delete the recent contacts, like all of that?
No, I just like if I've decided to end it, then there's a reason, and so I don't really like I'm done and I've moved on. Like I don't really need to delete anyone. I guess I don't know. Yeah, I just don't have that feeling of going back. I think it's happened only once, and then we did hook up after, and yeah, I agree, it sucked.
See? I do it out of boredom, honestly, and no new no new hoes in the rotation. So it's like, I guess I'll go back to this one. And this is how I ended up celibate. Honestly.
You just ran out of options.
I ran out of hoes.
Oh, it's cuffing season.
This has been the toughest cuffing season. I think I might just move to another country though. That seems to be the wave.
Wait, what is cuffing season?
Wait, what?
Oh, I don't know what that is.
All right, somebody's left a teaching moment. Who wants to do it? Not me.
Go ahead.
Cuffing season is that moment that starts at the onset of fall or autumn, if you real fancy. But us basic bitches be like, at fall, September, is when you start scouting for your cuffing partner. And this is a person that you hold on to throughout winter. They're there to keep you warm.
Got it.
And then once the sun starts coming out again and it's warm, then you got to get rid of them. Unless he was really good and then he's your boyfriend. But we don't do that around these parts.
Usually it's just a seasonal thing.
Okay, clear.
It's like, just like, wait, I think I've kind of done that.
I know, I'm like, oh, okay. So that's what it's called.
That's a real name.
So wait, I'm curious if your celibacy has a, does your celibacy, celibacy? What am I saying? Maddie,
it's a vegetable.
I have a question for you. Does your celibacy have an end date, or are you just letting it flow?
I'm just letting it flow. I did break it for a few months. The longest I went was about 2.5 years with no activity. Like it was the Sahara over here.
Wait, like not even masturbating?
I did that, but it was just like nobody saw what was going on, so it was it's pretty depressing. But I broke it. I got on an app. Those apps got me. I got on the app because one of my friends was like, "This is really depressing that you don't have sex." I'm like, "I think I'm fine." I met two guys. I had a rotation going again. Like it was beautiful. I was back in my zone. And they both fell through. So then I got back into my celibacy because I realized everything that caused me to decide to be celibate in the first place was still there. So I'm like, okay, I'm happiest when I'm just not having sex. Not that I'm not dealing with anyone, not that I'm not dating, but if you want to date me, hi. But yeah, and it does affect the dating. I've realized guys take it as a personal challenge. When I say I'm celibate, they're like, it's because you haven't met me yet. No, you can take your wag dick somewhere else because I don't need that. So it doesn't really have an end date until I guess I meet someone that's worth it. Hey.
Well, yeah, I couldn't do it, so
I can't.
Congrats, girl.
That's like more power to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like it happens on accident anyway sometimes.
You just fall on a dick.
Well, that too. I just meant like sometimes you go through dry periods on accident, and so I feel like that's enough for me. The accidental dry periods are like sad enough. So I mean, congratulations. I couldn't do it.
I mean, I have a friend who also has the accidental situation, and it was funny because she would always judge me for it. I'm like, you're celibate too. You just don't realize it because you're not giving it that title. I'm like, you've gone longer than I have. Like, if you don't get out of here, this bullshit.
Do you think it makes it different when you acknowledge being celibate versus just saying you have a dry period?
It does. I'll be honest, there is a difference because it's more intentional. Because you will meet a guy, he will be sexy as fuck. He could get it, and you're just like, I'm not going to do that. But when it's a dry period, you're just like, hell yeah, let's go. We could do this right here, right now. Just wait for the waiter to walk away. Like, wait for the waiter. I told you I used to be a hoe.
Use it under the table, by the bar.
We watched that episode of Insecure. We know how it gets down.
Oh, yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, Lena, where? I don't want to know this. Actually, never mind.
What? Now you gotta ask. You gotta finish the question.
Where is the craziest place that is not in this room that you and Wesley have hooked up?
Outdoors, like standing up kind of by a tall grassy area on the side of where he used to live that happens to be his aunt's house.
Oh.
I'd like to interject and say that me and Wesley are related.
So you know exactly where.
I know exactly where she's talking about.
Sorry, I actually wish I didn't ask that question. It brought forth way too many visuals, and I'm sorry.
It just got too real.
I'm sorry. I take it back.
That spot will never be the same for you.
I'm just not going there anymore. But Ari, now the question's on you.
I feel like I just have more. I feel like what would be more interesting is like what's on my bucket list, you know? Because
We'll take that.
what I'm curious about is if like elevator sex is a real thing. It just seems really difficult to accomplish. There's like, you know, like on TV shows and movies and stuff, they press the red button, but when you press the red button in real life, people get on the intercom and shit, and it's like, just logistically, it feels really difficult. Other people get on the elevator, you know, like, is that a real thing?
Have you tried?
I haven't.
Oh.
So that's like why I'm curious, because I'm like, how realistic is this situation? And it seems kind of like a challenge. No.
Challenge accepted. Not me, but I feel like somebody is listening and will be like, I've done it. It's possible.
Yeah.
It kind of
That
reminds
sounds
me of
awesome.
the Mile High Club, kind of.
Oh, yeah. I know people who have done that. I've never done it, but I do know people.
I haven't done it either. And I feel like I have no excuse.
Surprised you haven't.
I know. Boring now. Are you part of the Mile?
No, and I'm also like, on one hand, it sounds like it would be really fun, but then if I think of like the bathrooms in planes, it's just really gross, and it's so tiny that you really have no flexibility to do a lot. You know,
They're actually disgusting.
no, they are gross. Maybe in the cockpit, but then you probably like hit a button that you shouldn't be hitting.
Or back where they have the food. That's probably not the best place, but because they usually have.
Oh yeah.
I was reading an article about like flight attendant, like the things that they admit, and like a huge majority, like a large amount of them have sex with each other on the plane.
Oh yeah.
Like, a lot of them.
What?
I used to work for an airline, so I definitely heard a lot of stories of like the pilot hooking up with the stewardesses. They even have on the plane, because like when they're actually in flight, they don't have to. The pilot doesn't really have to do much. So, and if it's a long haul flight, you know, you got a lot of time. Yeah.
Damn. So that's where they disappear to.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm like, where the fuck are they?
Peanuts. I get it now.
Interesting. But I feel, is it just me that I'm making this up, or do people that work as like either stewardess, how do you say it?
Steward I.
These women that help do stuff on the plane, and men, because sometimes there are men. Like, do they just get laid more because they're like always like hopping from like city to city? I feel like that might be the ideal like career if we really want to be a hoe.
I feel like they would get laid less because you have to like put the time into like figuring out who you're gonna hook up with, you know. But I get what you're saying. You have more options.
Yeah, but then you could just like Tinder it or something.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah. Hopefully we're inspiring someone to make a career change.
To become a stewardess / full-time hoe. I would like to know that though.
Yeah.
Because it would seem really convenient. Like, you would literally have hoes in every area code.
Yeah.
Like, I'm for it.
Like, oh, I'm making this stop on my path today. You around? Like, and sometimes
Real
you
quick.
like a little quickie or whatever, go back, next
You're right.
shift.
You're right. That would be great.
Because I feel like they're obligated to take breaks, right? Like they have to like labor in some cities and stuff. So food for thought.
I'm gonna quit my job tomorrow now.
You're like, maybe I made the wrong career choice. Get some more options flowing. So Jess, you wanted to talk a lot about porn.
Yep.
So what were your thoughts?
What about it? I had so many thoughts. I wrote down all my notes. I thought the categories were interesting on like the top search categories for men and women, and how like why lesbians ranked so highly. Like 3 out of the 5, I think, top searches were among women were like lesbian related. I don't know. Why do you guys think, like, any hypotheses on like why these categories showed up as they did?
Do you have hypotheses?
Well, so I agree. Like, I like lesbian porn. I think partly visually and also partly they treat each other better. Like, there's like no guy being like, you know, like, I don't know. I just feel like it's it's like a nice looking visual and everyone's being respected.
Oh, you're so right. The saddest thing is like when you like turn on a porn, you can tell like a woman is literally in pain.
Yeah.
Why is this appealing? And then I can't do that. You're totally right.
Yeah, that's why I just avoid heterosexual porn. Like I'm the one that
you
helps
avoid it.
with it. I just don't. I might if it's like an exploratory activity between like Wesley and I or something, but otherwise my default is always lesbian porn.
Okay.
So I agree with everything you said.
Okay. And I also wonder, like, among men, a lot of it was like family related, like stepmom, MILF. Like, I don't understand that. Is it like a taboo thing? Is that why? Or like,
I don't know. It was. We couldn't reconcile that on the show. We were just like, what? Why is this popular?
Does that mean that people are just, in general, really sick? Like, is that...
Like, the Oedipus complex is real.
Actually, yeah.
It's not...
I don't know. Have you had guy friends that have admitted to that? Like, watching that, or...
No, I don't.
No. The guy friends that will admit to it are all for the big black butts, 17 type porn.
BBW.
But now I'm going to go back and ask all of them, like, are you really just searching for your stepmom? Like,
Or even like the sisters thing, I don't understand. They're family. And it's not, I think that's a little weird. I can, at least like with step siblings, you're not actually related. But like, mother, son, and like sisters is I can't wrap my head around it. I don't understand.
I don't understand either.
but
Yeah.
even though they're actors, it's still disturbing. And then the fact that someone's like searching this out is like, does your sister know this?
I didn't think about that.
Is your sister safe?
Well, yeah, it'll be interesting to hear from someone like why they find that appealing. I don't know. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, no, it was like one of those. I was surprised too when we looked at those. And then I was surprised that BBWs didn't rank higher. Because I feel like that's like the ultimate craze recently.
Because Drake?
No, just in general. Like, true, but just the whole like big butt complex now. Like everybody wants to have a big butt because all of a sudden it's like sexy. Oh, yeah.
It's always been sexy.
It's, oh, yeah, exactly. So like all of a sudden it just like started again.
That would be interesting to see.
So I'm looking forward to the 2017 trends. No,
I'm not. Because then I judge people.
No, you can't. Well, unless it's like family stuff, I think.
Yeah.
But like some of the other stuff, it's like interesting. Like my latest obsession has been like tentacle porn. Not that I watch it. The fact that it exists.
What is that?
So so tentacle
So, like,
porn
the
is
hentai
kind of
type
like
stuff?
hentai stuff. So hentai is just basically animated cartoon porn. So like you'll either see like cartoons that you would have normally seen, but they're having sex with each other. But this particular one has to do with like women, like the women cartoons that are drawn with like octopus stuff, and they're like the tentacles are like all over them, kind of thing. It looks interesting. I just never watched it.
It looks interesting.
I feel so creeped out just hearing you talk about it.
What?
Is it always the women with the tentacles? Because I can see the benefits of a man having tentacles potentially. More.
No, it's not the women with the tentacles. It's the women being fucked by the tentacles.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, I can understand that.
Really? Teach us.
It's kind of like toys, but not toys. They are just other phallic things.
Yeah.
No, they're tentacles.
So they're already lubed up.
She said it was an octopus.
It has a suction cup though.
It literally has suction.
Oh, yeah, it's like. Okay.
Maybe this is why I'm celibate.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm being judgmental, but who are you?
Me? I mean, I don't watch it. I just know that it exists.
No, I'm speaking to your listeners. Who are you?
Send us a message.
Send us a message. Let us know why.
With a picture. We won't post it. We just want to know what you look like.
I feel like I'm being really judgmental, but I just don't understand.
But I think Jess, kind of you are like, oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. I mean, it's cartoon, right? It's like a real woman being fucked by an octopus.
No, it's a cartoon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
So there's no like bestiality happening.
The octopus is fine. The octopi.
Octopi. Like if there's like a fantasy, and I actually like watching like threesomes where it's two guys and a girl, just because there's like more.
Yeah.
More dicks. So
Those
like
are tentacles.
yeah. So I know they're not tentacles, but I can kind of like. It's weird. I think it is kind of weird, but I can kind of see it. Like it's just
phallic.
another
Like
it's phallic. I agree. It's just like a toy.
Me and Maddie just we understand, and that we don't understand.
No, not at all.
cool. That's why she's like, well, I agree with everything you say. And I was like, get into this tentacle porn together. And you're like, no.
I'm going to go home and just like try to understand this and not.
But I mean, that was actually one of the categories in porn, though, was hentai. And I think it was ranked higher with men.
Hentai.
Yeah. And it varied by country, but it was very interesting to see all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of ads people who watch tentacle porn get served. Like, is it cartoon based? Is it octopus based? Is it specifically tentacle porn based? You know, I'm really curious about that.
So,
Yeah.
follow-up question to that. Do you guys watch in private or on your regular browser?
You gotta do that shit in private because the ads you get.
Okay.
Oh, I just
What?
In your regular browser?
No, do it in private because they're tracking you, and then you start getting like weird pop-ups, and you're like, wait, like.
You know, like the Facebook ads. Like, do you end up?
I don't think you would
like,
get. I've not gotten
I
sex
promise you,
related.
you do.
Because I do search on like normal browsers. I have a porn iPad that I use.
Wait, so you have an iPad just for porn?
Like, because I don't really use my iPad for anything else because I have a laptop and a phone. So my iPad just never gets used. So it's my porn iPad.
Maybe you just haven't noticed.
So maybe, yeah. So you're
That's
right.
your version
But then,
of being in private.
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, sometimes I just get lazy and I use my phone, but then I don't get like
the screen
on
is
my
so
mobile,
small.
Yeah, like on my mobile browser. Maybe that's why it takes me so fucking long.
Like zooming.
Is that his dick? Oh wait, no.
Wait, where's the clit? Oh, there it is. That's actually pretty cool though. That you're just like, this is my designated porn device.
Yeah, porn pad.
Porn pad.
I like that though. Porn pad. Okay.
Yep. Everyone go and buy. No, not endorsing anything.
Yeah, we'll need Apple to pay us for that. Thanks.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's like all the questions. I feel like porn is like one of those things that nobody really quite understands either, because it exists and people don't want to admit that they watch it. Most people don't.
Have you tried the VR porn?
Oh yeah.
No, I have not.
Pornhub did they did a VR thing.
I tried that. I think one of the guys I was dating had like a VR set, so we were watching that. It was weird though. I think they just haven't developed enough content. And I was like, and the woman. So it was taken from like the point of view of the guy. So he was like looking up at this like big giant naked, like she was just like a giant. It was kind of scary. It was like an intimidating thing because it was just like a big naked woman on top of you. I was like, oh, I don't think this is turning me on.
You're like, can we go back to watching regular porn?
Yeah.
Not VR porn. So was the, like, at least the animations, like, did it feel like you were there? Like, what was it?
I mean, I guess it was from the point of view of the guy. So maybe guys might appreciate it more because it does make them feel like they are right there and the girl's like right there with them. But for me, it just kind of scared me. I was like, yeah.
Yeah,
So.
that does sound kind of scary if it just looks like a giant woman.
Yeah.
That's kind of awesome, though, too.
I mean, kind of, yeah.
Like women empowerment.
Yeah.
I will squish you with my boot.
Is that what that is?
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe if they come up with better content, I would enjoy it.
That's cool, though,
Yeah.
that you've watched it. I haven't seen it yet. But I like that.
Well, speaking about like women empowerment, that's like the one thing that I struggle with in porn is that like even if the woman is empowered and chooses to be there, I still wonder, like, given the scenarios that she has to act in, if that still has a negative, like, if all porn is good, basically, or like, you know, if there should be certain types of porn that aren't great, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely porn that's better about, like you said earlier, like when it's lesbian porn, it looks like women are actually respecting each other versus when it's heterosexual porn, it's not the case. And I actually haven't really looked at gay porn, but I wonder how men treat each other when it's gay porn.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
So I've scrolled. Scroll through. And interestingly enough, usually the gay porn is about tricking a straight man into having sex with a gay man.
That just sounds...
Oh.
It is. It really is. I'm like, is this what makes those people that are just like, I'm not gay, yes you are, feel okay about watching gay porn? Like, it's weird.
Oh.
That was actually one of the
Bizarre.
categories that was high on the women thing, too, is lesbians seducing straight. I think
yeah.
that was one of the...
It was.
Yeah. So it's not just, yeah.
But it's seducing, not tricking. Again, I'm just scrolling. Not that I watch it or anything, but they'll literally like be blindfolded, and then it's a dude that starts getting him off.
Oh,
And
I
it's like,
see.
that's just mean.
Huh.
And then, the blindfolds come off, and he's like, oh, it's a dude, but you're giving me head, so I'm gonna go with it.
Maybe it's really a form of education. Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're just out there trying to educate us on being okay with who you are.
Possibly.
Mind
But-
blown.
Again, I just scroll, so I don't know. I can't.
Okay, so female empowerment. This is me. Pseudo. The whole concept of, or like one of the concepts of this podcast, right, is like for women in the women's spectrum, at least, is like being okay doing whatever you need to do and whatever, sex, dating, blah blah blah. I have to admit, I am one of those women who like. Sometimes I just like I like men to like do shit for me in terms of like bill paying and in terms of like initiating contact sometimes, depending on what the end goal is. don't know. I can be like, not all the time, but kind of. I am. It might, and some of it might be because I'm like from the South, and like some of the traditional shit is like still within me somewhere. But I don't know. I think I might be one of those people you talk about.
I totally am. So I'm with you on that. I'm old school. I buy my own drinks. I do. So future husband, don't worry. I'll buy my drink. But I totally feel you on that. I've yet to have a guy pay my bill. That's a lie. Yes, I have.
Oh, no. Sorry. I wasn't referring to like the bills of my home. But if you want to.
Thanks for the clarification.
If you want to.
I got you on that light bill.
No. I meant like the dinner, like picking up the check. I should have said would have been more clear.
I have strong opinions on that. On the other side, I hate it when a guy assumes that he has to pay for me. And I think it's also because I didn't grow up in the US. I grew up in Europe. And it was never a thing. Like, if I went out for a date, we would always split the check. Like, always. It wasn't ever, like, a thing, you know? And I feel like it's just equal. Like, I'm having just as much fun as the guy. I earn money. I can pay for myself. Although one thing that one of my friends did mention, she was like, if he paid 23% more, that would be great, because that's like the wage gap. It's like, okay, I agree with that. Yeah, he can pay 23% more. He can cover the tip, fine. Or like, and not, I'm not against gestures. So like, if he buys me a drink, I'm not going to be like, no, female empowerment, don't buy me a drink. But like, so I'm still for like gestures. Just like, I don't know, someone has a birthday, you buy them a drink, kind of thing. Like, I like gestures, but I wouldn't ever expect a guy to pay for me.
I have no rational reason as to why I feel this way. I just feel like I'm like date number 1 or something, particular, especially if you've asked me out on a date, which you probably have, because like I said, I don't do much of that myself, which might be part of the problem. But yeah, I do like do the fake reach for my check. Like, let me pretend I'm going to my purse, and then you can be like, I got it, and then I'm like, okay, thanks. Like, I usually handle it in that really like fake sneaky way. Yeah, for no reason.
But no reason.
I mean, I'm admitting that I don't have like a a theory or a basis by which I think this is appropriate.
I think it might be just a cultural thing, like what you're used to, and like, yeah, I don't know.
I just call it being old school. Like, and I agree, on the first date, I do expect the guy to offer. I don't expect him, because real life happens and I know it's not always guaranteed, but I do expect him to offer to pay. I do the same thing where or I'll just like grab the check and then have that fake argument. It's like, what are you doing? Okay. I'll do that. But especially if he asks, because my rule is, if you ask me, then you had the money to pay. So you should pay. If I ask you, then I had the money to pay. So I'm going to pay. And it's not even about the actual money. It's just about the gesture. Like, you want my time. Mm-hmm. This is what my time costs at a minimum. Because I'm definitely worth more than some chicken parm and 2 glasses of wine.
I mean, I guess I can kind of see it if like someone's asking you out. But I think a lot of times, like if you're on the apps now, it's kind of a given that both people are looking for a date. Sure. And so I feel like it's slightly more balanced in that sense. But yeah.
I have no problem splitting a bill, but I'm probably not going to be the one to suggest it, if I'm really honest. Like, I'll do it if you're like, you want to split this? I'll be like, okay, fine. Oh. But
would that be like a deal breaker?
No, it wouldn't be. And it hasn't been. But yeah, I just would prefer to not do that.
I judge people for that.
What I was going to say was like, well, what I like about what you said is, even though you're kind of more traditional about the whole first date who pays thing, the fact that it's not a deal breaker is like that's like good, because most women will make it a deal breaker thing. So continue.
Yeah. So Maddie.
Again, it's the the assumption is that he asked me, because I've yet to ask a guy on a first date, right? So
I've never asked a guy on a first date.
On the first date, no. Like, I leave that to him. If you want to spend time with me, then you'll ask. And if you don't ask within whatever amount of time I decide, depending on how much I like you, then we're just never going to hang out and screw you. But if he asks, then I'm assuming that you're going to pay. I always have enough money to pay for myself, because I do believe, like, again, guys don't always do that. I've had those dates where it's just like, so you want to split this? And I'm like, seriously? Why would you ask me out if you weren't going to pay for, like, if you weren't going to pay? Why would you ask me out to drinks if you were just going to pay for yourself? So you want me to give you my time, but you're not going to compensate me for it. That's like going to work for free. I'm not down for that. No.
But you also just admitted that it's a loophole, because you said you've never asked a guy out. So you always expect a guy to ask you out. And
for the first date, I definitely expect the dude to pay. Have I paid on the first date? Yes. And to ask me out. This is why I'm single. So I've gone on those dates. I've had those dates. I've had guys where they're just like, they're ordering like a shit ton of stuff. The appetizers, the entrees, desserts, 4 rounds of drinks. And then while I had my salad and a glass of red wine, they turned to me like, let's split this.
No. Oh, okay. That's different. Yeah. I would not pay for
I was like, sir, if you don't get out of here with that. No, I refuse. I haven't refused because I'm polite as fuck. So I'm just like,
you actually have split that like down the middle, or you just paid your portion?
I split it down the middle, and then it's just like, delete my number.
Damn. Mm-hmm. So, I would have been like, here's my $20.
Yeah. So I was bring cash as well.
See, I'm still learning that. I don't bring cash. But, like, I'll split it. I have no problem. Especially, like, every date thereafter. The second date, it's almost guaranteed that I'll pay. That's my caveat. It's like, I expect you to pay for the first one. I'll offer to pay. If there's a second date, I almost always pay.
Or even if, like, sometimes if it's going well, you may go to the next spot or like someplace after that. Even if it's like you're going to more than one place that evening, then I'll be like, oh no, like I'll get you this time.
Yeah,
like, I'm fine to do that. But just that first one, I would really prefer it.
Like, we can't say chivalry is dead and then not hold men to that standard, is how I feel about it. It's like, so we're going to walk through a door and you're not even going to hold it open for me? Like, that's how I feel like it's on that level. It's just like, I can't, because then what are you going to do later on down the road in the relationship? If we're just starting off and you're not trying to wow me? Because we know dudes are lazy as fuck. Like, it goes downhill from the first date. And for the dudes I've dated, maybe I just date shit dudes. But it tends to go downhill. It's just like, I'm not asking for flowers. I'm not asking for like a whole expensive dinner. I'm not asking you to take me to like the most expensive and the nicest place. It's like, if we just go down the block for a few rounds of drinks, you asked me, I came out, I look cute as hell. Like, I look really pretty right now, and you're not going to be like, dang, let me try to impress her. If you're not trying to impress me from jump, then the fuck? Why am I here?
So, Jess, you look like you want to say something.
I don't know. Like, I don't think that it should be the guy's job to woo you more than you want. Like, I think both people are in it. Like, both people are looking for something. So I think it should be both persons' role to be the best on their date. So I don't think it's like a case of, well, I got made up, so you should impress me. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I approach it differently. Like, I'm like, all right, I think you're cool. You probably think I'm cool. Let's get to know each other. And I don't know. I feel like I'm in the minority here.
Yeah, no, but I agree with I agree with like what you're saying. It's like, I think it should be, the chase should be mutual is kind of how I think about it. And then as far as impressing, I think any monkey with a hat can impress you by paying for stuff. I look for something a little bit deeper. And then, but what I will say is that I have taken advantage of men that I know that are just going to pay for stuff because they can pay for stuff for me.
See, maybe that's where we differ. Because I don't do that. Like, again, second date, it's all me. I don't care where we go. I don't care if you picked it, if you asked. So for the first date, you ask, you pay. Second date, even if you ask, I'm paying. Like, we can have, and that's when the argument is real, like, where I'll take the bill and she's like, no, for real, I'm paying. Back up. Brooklyn, let's go. But for the first one, I just feel like it's that I'm just so old. Maybe I'm just too old school in that way.
I am too.
And I lived down south for a while, so thanks.
Yeah, and yeah, because I agree. I don't see it and think like, oh, this man's trying to like throw his money about, and like, because I actually also strongly dislike, if you're dating and like the guy feels like they should and have to do everything financially. I actually really dislike that, because that's when it seems like it becomes a power. It feels like it's a power thing, or it feels like you're trying to impress me, and like I don't want that. I don't feel like, I don't see it as like you paying for my meal as like a way to impress me. I just feel like it's a nice thing to do, essentially. And like that, and so and then I go from there. It's not like I see it as an opportunity and then like pounce on it and and like oh, what else can I get from this man?
Oh, I've totally done that.
All right, if you're at the club and like if you're out and some man, in those situations, yes, but in terms of just like actually going out on a date and that kind of stuff, totally at the club, you gotta,
I think that's the key to it, though. It's the difference at the club. Then it's just like, you're probably not going to impress me regardless. But if I've decided, but if I've decided to take this time out to go on an actual date, a real life date, like not just, oh, I'm here, you should come here too, and it's like a fucking Starbucks or something. Like, but it's hey, what are you doing Friday? Oh, nothing. Oh, let me take you out to dinner. I mean, like an actual real life date. The club is just like, I'm not going to pay you any attention anyway. If you want to buy me and my friends a few rounds of drinks, okay, do you. But I don't have any expectations there. But it's like, if I've taken the time to get to know you, because if we're going on a date, then I'm actually giving you some thought. I've given you some consideration. It's more than just, oh, he was nice. It's like, okay, I really want to get to know you. I really want to spend more time with you. I want to see what this can be. And we're going on real dates. Then it's just like, my standards are higher at that point.
Because you're more vested, which is, and that's kind of how because that's what I would used to do, like in my early 20s when I was like, oh, I don't care, or like, whatever, like, you're interesting enough for me to have a conversation, but I've already written you off and I'm never actually going to romantically pursue you. Exactly. But because you're still pursuing me, then I'll let you do what you want to do, boo. It's not that bad. It's like an hour here or whatever. Yeah. But now my time is much more valuable, or at least I assess more value to my time. So like, I wouldn't waste my time, because then I'm wasting my time. So it's So I can see how that works out.
And I feel like, I know like a lot of guys say like, I'm not going to pay for dinners anymore for first dates. And I'm not going to do this anymore, because it starts to add up. And I think it's just, this is obvious. This is definitely me generalizing, but guys they're like, they do more as far as dating is concerned. They're like constantly asking girls out on dates, like based on, to your point, it's like, oh, she's cute, like I'm asking her out, whatever. But to your point about like being a little bit more invested, I feel like by the time for me at least, by the time I agree to go out on a date with you, it's because I've decided I want to go out on a date with you, not just because I met you and like, now we're going to go out, right? So like, for a guy, yes, a dinner would add up if you're literally going on 20 dates in a week. But for me, if I'm going on like 1 date a week or 2 dates a week, then it doesn't feel like I'm doing too much by being like, buy my drink, or like,
and why should I be punished because you're using the shotgun method to date? Like, stop being a hoe.
Like, think about it more.
It's funny though, because like, this has actually come up on the podcast before, and like Brock has always said that it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
So, and I guess like, I'm like, for women, is it really a numbers game? Probably not entirely.
Yeah, I think for guys it is, but not so much for women.
No.
They're like, how many, like, okay, if I like get 10 numbers tonight, then like 3 of them might turn into blah, blah, blah. But then like we wait to decide who we're going to give our number to. In a different, like, I don't know.
Definitely.
Yeah. I actually hadn't thought about it like that.
Yeah. Like, I don't get to that point. I think I give my number out to maybe 2 guys if I go out. And it was, I spotted you when you walked in.
You've been planning this.
Like, it wasn't to every guy that asked for my number because let's be for real.
Then you would.
Dudes just, they do that. It's just like, I'm gonna give my number to everyone and maybe, just maybe, something will pan out. And we're just like, okay, that's cute. But then it also turns us off where it's like, I just saw you talking to that chick over there. And that one over there. And she ain't even cute. What are you doing?
I'm like, it's like, wait, my standard is here and she's like down here. Like, nah, we can't talk anymore.
And I'm not going to think that I'm not cute because I know I am. Like, you're just trying for anything right now. And it's just like, okay, no.
Yeah, anything that moves, no, can't do that. Because women notice, to your point. Yeah. It's not unknown. On apps, it can be unknown. But in real life.
That was a good point, Jess, about apps, though, in terms of the fact that you're both on there. I hadn't thought about that. Like, you're both on there. You both swiped right or clicked that check mark, whatever it is. So it's like you both obviously put in the effort. That's interesting. For sure.
I totally felt Brock on that one, though. With the apps where it's just like rapid fire.
Oh, yeah.
Just like, no. Ooh, okay. No. I definitely do that when I do use the apps. But even then, it's the dreaded, so what are you on here for? You can get off my phone.
It's like, what the fuck are you on here for?
We're literally both on Tinder. Clearly, I'm not looking for the love of my life. So, you gonna bring the dick or not? No. Next.
Yeah, Tinder's definitely, I think, at least I've deemed it like the hookup app. Have you had different experiences with it, or?
Nope.
I haven't been, not me specifically, but I do know people who have ended up in relationships off of Tinder, which is interesting.
Really?
But I would imagine that takes time in terms of like the number of swipes you have to go through to like get to the one where like you actually form a bond with someone, you know?
Yeah, seems like a lot of either luck or a lot of work. Like you have to go through a lot of people to vet them out.
I've not used Tinder, so I don't know.
Like ever in life?
Yeah, ever.
Wait.
Yeah, I used Hinge and Bumble. But yeah, just not Tinder. I think because like I am looking for more, and because the reputation that Tinder has is that it's a hookup app. And like I think most girls don't need an app to hook up. Like just go out.
First do the cat calls.
So it's like, all right.
That's actually really smart because I think most women will say they're looking for love on Tinder, and I'm like, did you not like get the memo? What it's really for? So it's awesome that you just stay off of it because you're like, that's not what I'm looking for.
And it's work, so if there's one more app that I can cross off, it's good.
That's literally primarily like when I do make the effort to approach someone, it's because I'm only looking for something physical. Like that's usually when it is me that does it because it's just like fuck it. Like I don't have anything to lose in this situation. Probably at some point, like probably gonna work out, and I don't have to worry about you thinking that like I'm doing too much or like you not taking me seriously because a lot of guys do. Unfortunately, when girls do that, so you're right, it's easy enough.
Well, ladies, we're coming up on time. Did anybody have anything that they really just wanted to get out before we wrap up today's episode?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks. This is fun.
Thanks for coming. No, I really loved how the discussion evolved. And, we talked about different points of view, and I think it's awesome to just start to connect the dots on some stuff where people are just like, no, like, this is what I think. But I actually understood some points of view that sometimes I've just been about like, nah, like, you're just crazy. Like, but no, thanks. I've learned a lot from the conversation, and I hope that our listeners have learned a lot from today's conversation too. So thanks so much, Maddie, Jess, Ari, for being honored guests today and being a part of the first inaugural episode of Chicas Chat. We hope to bring more of these too as our podcast continues to grow. For our listeners out there, if you really liked this episode and you would actually like to be a guest in the future, feel free to reach out to us. And we really look forward to our next time together, which will be another special edition episode that I'll let Wesley and Brock introduce when it's their time. But thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Are you a Spreaker user? Follow us on Spreaker and help us get closer to getting listed on iHeartRadio. Remember just to search for No Free Drinks on the Spreaker platform.